Congressman Eric Cantor joins me now to answer that question. He is the #2 House Republican. Thank you so much, Representative, for joining us this evening. The president said there was nothing controversial in the proposals that he laid out this evening. Did you hear any points of middle ground?
Margaret, I certainly did. There's a lot in the president's speech that I think that are areas that we can work together on, specifically in the area of small business tax relief. That's something that we Republicans have been advocating for quite some time now. If we're going to see an economy grow again, we've got to get the small business men and women back into action. They're the real job engines. I also heard some areas of working to streamline infrastructure spending, trying to make sure that we reform the system of unemployment compensation. There's certainly plenty of areas that we can work on. What I did reject, though, Margaret, was that somehow an all-in-one or take-it-or-leave-it package, that there shouldn't be anything controversial in there. Again, given where we've been in Washington, the reality is good people can disagree. Republicans and Democrats are not going to agree on everything, but certainly we shouldn't let those differences get in the way of where we can work together. So my response coming out tonight is I hope that we can peel off some of the things that we can agree on, send them across the floor, vote on them, send them to the Senate, and get them into action quickly so that the people that are hurting out there can see results.
The very first thing you said there, sir, was support for small businesses. Specifically, payroll tax cuts for employers themselves has been highlighted. Are you more in favor of that than, say, increasing the cut for the employee themselves with their payroll tax?
Well, Margaret, Republicans don't believe in raising taxes for anybody. We also know right now the imperative is growth.
But the prospect is deepening it, deepening the cut for the employee.
Right. Well, and anything that can provide incentives for entrepreneurs to put capital to work is what we would be for first. And so we certainly would embrace that. As far as the payroll tax holiday on the employee side, it was a provision in the agreement that passed last December, along with the extension of the existing marginal rates, cap gains rates, etc. It is something that certainly will be part of the discussions going forward. I think priority should be getting people back to work and how we can create an environment for more job creation.
And how do you define a small business? Because it sounds like even getting you on board for that will matter on defining a corporation versus just a small employer.
Well, in the Republican proposal we put forward, we speak to small businesses as those with 500 employees or less. Again, the numbers dictate that those are the businesses that create the most jobs. That's where we're hurting so badly. That's why people across this country, almost every one of us knows somebody who's lost a job, because it's that small business engine that hasn't been working that we need to focus on to help get back on their feet.
We're also looking at that question, though, of the long-term unemployed. I mean, are you supportive of extending jobless benefits, as the president suggested tonight?
One of the things that we Republicans have put forward back in December of 2009 was reforming the unemployment benefit program in this country, and specifically we pointed to the program in the state of Georgia called Georgia Works. The president mentioned that tonight. Again, an area of commonality, something that we should be able to right away get to work on, because we do agree that that is important to reform the system so that the goal to get people back to work is realized.
You know, I've been talking to local leaders in states and in cities about the question of direct aid to them. The president said tonight that they're trying to prevent almost 300,000 teacher layoffs with extending aid there. Are you supportive of that kind of infusion?
Well, again, I haven't seen the details. My fear is some of the rhetoric that I heard in the president's speech sounded a lot like that surrounding the stimulus pitch when we went through that over 2 years ago. And so I'm worried that once again we would find ourselves in a spending binge, spending money that we don't have, and then burdening future generations. So I'm fairly cautious.
The president promised that all of these proposals would be offset.
Well, again, there was no offsets in the speech, and he said he'd be looking to Congress to try and find some kind of pay for. Again, there was no pay for in the speech, which is why I think there are so many of us who are concerned about yet more spending money that we don't have.
You were just comparing this $450 billion plan today to the stimulus of 2009, which was structured differently. What do you need to see for a spend of $450 billion to make it effective this time?
Well, it has to be oriented towards small business growth. And back in 2009, we Republicans put forward a plan that was focused on small businesses. And our tax relief plan for small businesses was the cornerstone of our proposal then. It is the cornerstone of our proposal now, is to provide employers with incentives to invest money, to create value, to create jobs so that people can get back to work. And I heard in the President's speech some provisions and proposals that could very well match our goals towards that end. So again, that's why I think it's so important for us to set aside this notion the President suggested that it's a take it or leave it package, and that somehow that we can work together on the areas of commonality, transcending the differences therein.
Thank you, Representative, for giving us an idea of some of the ideas in there you would take and those you would leave, as you said it. Thank you.